All right, Phil, I've written a top 5 topic for you. You have no idea what it is. Let's see if we can turn it into something good.
Let's do it.
Top 5 poker delusions. People think this is a viable strategy, but it's not.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Top 5 poker delusions. I would take this in a direction of not necessarily like a strategy or individual bit of wisdom that people are using too much, but kind of traps that people fall into that lead them to playing poorly. The first and kind of most obvious to me, I don't know the technical term for this, but selective memory, essentially. Whether it's with how you're running or how you're playing, people so often will see, okay, so I get all in with queens versus ace king, I'm 54% or whatever, and I win. All is right in the world, I move on. I don't consider myself lucky. But now I get all in with jacks against ace queen, I'm 54%, I lose this one. I remember that, okay, I was unlucky. And then looking back on this week, I can remember 6 times where I got unlucky. And I can remember 1 time where I got lucky because I got it in like with 10s against jacks. And like that was actually, I was only 20%. So like I remember that one, but you forget about all the times that something good happens to you when it kind of feels like it was supposed to happen. And so that's where people are delusional about how they're running, how lucky they are, how unlucky they are. And you see that everywhere, like all the way to the top of the game, honestly, from beginners to experts. So that's one. It's kind of delusions about how you're running, and selective memory about how you're running. The next one is delusions and selective memory about how you're making reads on opponents. So you think that your opponent looks nervous. He's betting the river, and then he shows down a bluff, and you've confirmed that your read on him looking nervous was accurate because she showed down a bluff. But maybe another time in that session, somebody else looked nervous. And you're like, yep, I think she's bluffing. And she showed down, oh, she had a value bet. Okay, well, I'm just going to forget about that and move on. And actually, I will say some people are the opposite way. Some people who I think fall into the category of kind of more anxious thinkers, more likely to tend towards worrying. Those people sometimes have selective memory in the opposite way, where maybe they make 3 good reads, but then they make 2 bad ones. And that uncertainty makes them think that they don't know what they're doing. And maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. But I find that people usually fall into one category or the other, where they're either remembering the good reads that they made and kind of reinforcing the reads they have on their opponents that they think they have, or they end up not getting to make reads, or they don't build up their kind of hand reading ability because every time they're wrong, it casts so much doubt in their mind and so much anxiety, so much worry that they don't develop those skills because they don't trust themselves enough. Number 3 is somewhat similar, but it's delusions about how you're playing. I mean, this is why gambling games are so tricky, and why you see the best players in the world playing against each other, both thinking that they have an edge. It's because it's so easy for us to be fooled by the game. You're playing and you get into a spot on the river where you have a really good bluff opportunity, and you bluff, and it works, and you think, I'm great. But let's say you get into a really good bluff opportunity spot, and you bluff, and then your opponent calls with top, like they have a huge hand, they have top set, or they river to flush, and you're like, well, I got unlucky that they had a flush. This would have worked if they had a weaker hand. But what you're not thinking about is the time that it did work, maybe they missed a draw, maybe they had nothing, maybe you actually were bluffing with the best hand, maybe you didn't outskill them, it was just they didn't have it that time. And then the third thing that'll happen is you get into this really good bluff spot, you bluff, then your opponent calls with a really weak hand, and you think, wow, they're so bad. I can't believe that they called with this hand that's never supposed to call. And that's what you think. However, let's say it's reversed, and you're in that position, and someone bluffs against you, and you call with a really weak hand because you think you have a great read on them. You turn over your hand. You think, wow, I just made a great read. I'm so good. They think, wow, he just called with a terrible hand. He's so bad. The truth is we don't know exactly where the truth is, but the point is that the lens that you see it through is often going to mislead you. And so you have to be very careful the way that you play and the way that others play. This fourth, I'll call a benefit of the doubt delusion. Let's say that your good friend who you talk poker strategy with all the time tells you about this hand they played. It seems like a hand, like if you saw somebody else play it, you would think that they played it badly. But since your friend is smart and good at poker, when they tell you that they played it this way, or you see them play it this way, maybe they don't even talk to you about it, you give them the benefit of the doubt because you know that they think through the game and probably had a good reason for that. Maybe you don't understand the reason. And generally it's okay. It's good actually to have some wonder, to not just label and judge every play that you see as bad, because sometimes there is a good reason for a play that you don't understand. But what happens is we give the benefit of the doubt to our friends, to people we know, and to ourselves when we play a hand badly or play a hand that appears as if we played it badly. But anytime we see an opponent play a hand badly, we don't give them the benefit of the doubt. We think, okay, he's dumb. Or, okay, that I want to be in this game against this guy because he doesn't know what he's doing. What happens in reality is, like, sometimes I'll play a hand badly, and immediately after the hand, I will know, oh, I made a mistake there. And I know exactly why. So that's okay. I know exactly why I made the mistake. I know it's a mistake. I'm not bad at poker. I just made a mistake. Yet when we see our opponent do that, that's not what we think. We don't think, oh, they understand this, but they just made a mistake this time. We think, oh, they don't understand this. They're bad. And that happens throughout sessions. Like, I make mistakes multiple times every hour that I play. It depends on the format of game I'm playing, but like, I'm making mistakes all the time. And they're either because I didn't realize something in time, or I'm distracted, or I didn't understand a specific spot. There are tons of reasons why you make mistakes all the time. It's because we're human. But we give ourselves the benefit of the doubt, either because we know the reason we made the mistake, or we know that, oh, I didn't understand that situation. But that's a really hard situation. I don't understand it. It's really hard. But yet, if we understand when our opponent makes a play that's bad, I don't know, we don't give them that benefit of the doubt. So yeah, I'm calling it the benefit of the doubt illusion. And it allows us to think we have more of an edge than we do, and think our friends have more of an edge than they do, because we're giving us and them the benefit of the doubt while we're not giving it to our opponents. The fifth delusion is what I would call delusion about why you're playing. And so this is something that I was taught by the great Tommy Angelo. Let's say you've been playing for 8 hours, and you're playing like $200, like $1, $2 blinds, so 200 no limit hold'em, and you're down you're down $2,000. There's no way you're going to win $2,000 back. You're miserable, and you've been so unlucky, and you're starting to get a little tired. But you don't want to leave because, right? You want to get even. You want a chance. Like, you don't want to leave a loser. So what you do is you think, all right, well, I'll just play. I'm exhausted now, and I have to get home in an hour and a half anyways, but I'll just play another hour. What you're telling yourself is, oh, this is good. I'm earning money in this game on average. Like, if you're a pro or a semi-pro, or you think you're winning the game, you're thinking, oh, I'm earning money in this game on average, so it's good for me that I keep playing because I'm earning. And you also want to play, so you're finding justification for it. You want to get even. You don't want to quit when you're losing. But the way that Tommy puts it, and what I like so much, is, okay, you're playing 200 NL. Let's say you have a 10 big blind per 100 win rate, and you're playing 30 hands an hour. That means that you've got like a $6 an hour win rate. So you're down $2,000, and you want to play an extra hour so that you can earn $6. That's really what you're trying to do. And when you can frame it like that in the reality of the situation, you realize, oh, no, actually I'm miserable and I'm tired, and I don't want to sit here for another hour down $2,000 to win $6 back. And that's the way you have to think about it. You have to think of it in terms of your theoretical earn. And actually, it's in reality, what happens is you're probably not even earning your expected win rate, because you're tired and you're miserable, and you're going to play worse. You're going to play scared, or you're going to play too loose, or you're going to punt your stack off. So you might even be losing on average, just however good the game is. Like, never let yourself off the hook to just think, oh, whatever, I'll just stick around another hour. Think it through. Think through the decision, because every decision you make is not only a decision about, how much money you're going to make or lose during that time, but a decision about your life and your happiness. And a lot of people in that spot, I mean, I've been there. You're not enjoying yourself at that moment. And if you leave, you leave and you've lost, and that's too bad. But you can go live the rest of your life and get back to the tables the next day, or whenever it may be, that much healthier and that much quicker.
So, Phil, does that mean as a player you're more pessimistic or optimistic?
Yeah, I'm more pessimistic. Definitely more of the. So I think in a lot of, I think everybody thinks they're unlucky. So I think I fall victim to that too. I think, like, I remember when I'm unlucky, and I forget some of the times I'm lucky. And so I know that I fall victim to the delusion of, I run better than I think I do. I've been more lucky than I think I have. But as far as assessing skill, I think very often I fall into the camp of worrying and being anxious and doubting myself more than I should. Not it's good to doubt yourself, like some healthy skepticism and questioning of your own game is good. But I think it takes a little too far, yeah.